And welcome back. Before we go any further, I do want to give a big shout out to uh, one of the other comic vloggers on YouTube. His name is his screen name is Comic Noob. He's a very smart and charming lad from Scotland. So I've gone international. What can I say? But again, thanks for the shout out, brother. It's nice to see somebody who also enjoys their comics as much as I do. You like a lot, more of the indie stuff than I do. But again, it's not a mutual kind of stroking fest here. But thanks, Comic Noob, for tuning in and enjoying what I have to say. And to all of you who tune in and have come to subscribe to me, thank you. It means a lot. That I have, even one or two followers is cool. People who like what I have to say, like I said, that's cool to me. So I don't, I do this for me and for the people that enjoy this stuff. So I don't really care how many hits I get, how many subscribers I have, whatever. Just as long as as long as I get to say what I want to say and the people out there are enjoying it. So thanks to all of you, because you do kind of help keep things going for me, so I appreciate it. Anyway, now on to what I was going to talk about, which is Smallville. Okay, we are now in the final season of Smallville. This is a show that I did not watch from the beginning. I think I discussed this in an earlier vlog. It's a show that I started watching regularly around season 3, and then got through, I think, Netflix, or actually just went out and bought a couple of the two previous seasons on DVD because they were cheap. But it became a show that I couldn't miss ever. It's a show that I've seen every episode of. It's a very polarizing show. People seem to either love it or hate it. A lot of times I read, things like, well, why is this stupid show still on the air and stuff like that. And, it's like the 90210 of, the Superman universe. And I think all that stuff is bullshit. I think for the most part, it's a very smart show. They do a lot of really interesting stuff. And even though Superman is nowhere near my favorite character, I wouldn't even put him in the top 10 of characters that I enjoy. But he is obviously an important character, and watching the young Clark grow into a man and grow into a real protector has been quite a journey. And now that we're in the final season, they're really going for broke here. I mean, we've been introduced to we've seen villains before that have existed either in the films or in the comics. We've seen last season, season 9, we had Zod as the bad guy. And the Kandorians, that was cool. I mean, to have, Kandorians there. So the season before that, we had Doomsday. I think that what Smallville is trying to do, I think this is what they're trying to do. It is to basically create kind of an alternate universe Superman story. It's not quite, it's not the DC Superman that we know. It's different because, I mean, all of these things that we've seen over time, obviously, they take place. I mean, like, Lois and Clark getting engaged, something that happened in, while they're in their 30s, not when they're, in their, early to mid 20s. So, but we've seen, the formation of Task Force X or the Suicide Squad. We've seen Checkmate. We've seen Amanda Waller. Obviously, there is the quote-unquote Justice League. They've got, the Flash. They've got Aquaman. We saw Mira this season. So we have Deadshot. So I mean, we're just there's some really interesting stuff happening this season. Obviously, because it has to, because it's going into, it's the final season. They have to kind of go for broke here. The two show creators, Miles Millar and Alfred Go, both said basically at the outset is two things that you'll never see. You'll never see Clark Kent put on the costume, and you'll never see him fly. I think I don't think we'll probably see the costume in the final season. I think we'll see him fly before that. We've already seen him kind of fly, but not really. But I think we will see him fly. But just thinking of recent episodes, sometimes they are really derivative of other tales, other things that are going on, other films, other TV shows. It kind of felt like, in the beginning, it kind of felt like Heroes. In the sense that they're constantly kind of fighting these, meteor, quote unquote meteor freaks, who've been infected with meteor rock, kryptonite, basically, and they get all these strange and unusual powers, and they usually end up going bad. So, what sets this apart from what it could otherwise be is the importance of the interpersonal relationships. It's not so much the events, but it's the relationships that people have with each other. First of all, I'm so glad that Kristen Crook is no longer on the show. Lana Lang's character just, after a while, really was grating on me, and I'm so glad that, he and Lois finally got together. I'm glad that Chloe's back, because I've always loved Chloe, because it's easy to love. She's kind of like the Willow character, as far as if you're, the Whedonverse kind of parallel there. Anyway, this season, like I said, we've seen a lot. We've seen a couple, like I said, a couple episodes are always going to be iffy. Like this, when they came back from their kind of winter break, and the first episode was, that really, really not good episode where it basically was the Matrix, and that was just silly. But it stepped up its game in the last couple episodes by giving us more of the relationships, more with the dark universe, the Earth 2 Lionel Luthor coming back to coming to Metropolis and basically kind of retaking the reins, and the cloned Lex Luthor. Michael Rosenbaum has announced that he will be in the series finale, which is really exciting because he's been absent, unfortunately, for the last couple of seasons. And apparently, his Lex is dead. Whether or not this is going to be the clone Lex Luthor or whether or not it's going to be something else. But this season, basically we have Darkseid, and I like the interpretations that they've given us of, Godfrey, of Desaad, of Granny Goodness, and the Omega Effect. We've seen essentially Deathstroke. We've seen Slade Wilson, although he's a lot older than he probably should be. Neither here nor there. Ultimately, it's still a really good show. It's the show that I will watch without fail on Friday night, whether it's whether I'm watching it while it's on or whether it's on DVR. So, but I will watch it that same night without fail. It's one of the few shows that I will do that with because I have to know. I got to know what's going on with that show. Tom Welling, I honestly wish that they would cast aside this idea of, okay, well, we're making a completely new Superman film and just kind of work off of the tablet that they've already set up for themselves with Smallville. That just seems like a logical step, but that's not the direction they're going in. That's up to them. I think personally it might be a mistake, but hey, it's their choice. So that's it for tonight. Well.